Commander Vela of the Tarthan Empire had heard the stories 1,000 times. Tales of human warriors who refused to surrender, who fought against impossible odds, who somehow turned certain defeat into unlikely victory. She dismissed them all as propaganda, the kind of myths that primitive species told themselves to feel important in a galaxy that had long since moved beyond such barbarism. The Tarthians were civilized. They calculated probability matrices before engaging in conflict. They used sophisticated neural networks to predict enemy movements. They fought wars with precision and mathematics, not emotion and desperation. Another human settlement detected, her sensor officer reported. Population, approximately 8,000. Military presence minimal. Vela examined the data on her command screen. The colony world of Brena's 4 sat at the edge of explored space, a farming community that supplied grain to the inner human territories. It held little strategic value, but it blocked their advance route to the more valuable systems beyond. Standard subjugation protocol, Vela ordered. Deploy ground forces. Minimize casualties, but make it clear that resistance is futile. Her second officer, a younger Tarthian named Krell, glanced at her nervously. Commander, the reports from other engagements with humans suggest we should perhaps increase our force allocation. Vela's mandibles clicked in amusement. You believe the legends too? That humans are somehow special warriors? Look at the numbers, Krell. We have 3,000 trained soldiers against their garrison of perhaps 200. Our armor is superior. Our weapons more advanced. This will be concluded before the next solar cycle. The landing craft descended through Brennus, a V's atmosphere, as dawn broke over the primary settlement. Vela watched from orbit, confident in her assessment. The humans would see the Tarthian force, recognize their hopeless position, and surrender. It was the logical outcome. Instead, the first thing that happened was that every human civilian disappeared. Within minutes of the Tarthian landing, the streets emptied. The few Tarthian drones that had infiltrated earlier reported that the humans had retreated to a series of underground bunkers beneath the settlement. They're hiding, Krell said. Should we proceed with extraction protocols? Vela considered this. Extraction would take time and resources. Send a message. Tell them they have 2 hours to surrender, or we begin demolishing the settlement above them. The response came back within minutes, delivered by a single human who emerged from one of the bunker entrances. He was unremarkable in appearance, wearing simple combat gear that looked decades old. He carried no weapon that Vela could identify. My name is Marcus, the human said when the communication channel opened. I speak for the people of Brennus. We decline your offer. You decline? Vela found this absurd. You understand that we can simply destroy everything above ground and then breach your bunkers at our leisure? You can try, Marcus said. His voice held no bravado, no anger. He stated it as simple fact. You have families down there, Vela pressed. Children, elderly. Do you truly wish to condemn them to a slow death underground? We won't be underground long, Marcus replied. We'll be coming for you. The channel closed. Krell looked at Vela with concern. Commander, that sounded like bravado from a desperate primitive, Vela interrupted. Begin demolition of the primary structures. When they see their homes destroyed, they'll reconsider. The Tarthian forces moved through the settlement systematically, placing charges on major buildings. That's when the first soldier disappeared. One moment he was attaching an explosive device to a grain silo. The next moment he was gone. His life sign on the tactical display simply vanished. Then another disappeared. And another. Report, Vela demanded. The ground commander's voice came through with unusual tension. Unknown contacts. They're moving through the underground tunnel network. They're somehow accessing points we hadn't mapped. How many contacts? Difficult to determine. They appear, strike, and disappear before we can get accurate counts. At least 20 confirmed kills so far. 20 kills. Vela felt her first moment of doubt. The humans were supposed to be cowering in their bunkers, not launching attacks. Deploy hunter drones. Map every tunnel. I want eyes on these attackers. The drones descended into the tunnel network, their advanced sensors sweeping for heat signatures and movement. What they found made no tactical sense. The humans weren't fighting like soldiers at all. They fought like they knew every centimeter of the terrain, because they did. They used maintenance shafts and water lines and ventilation ducts that didn't appear on any schematic. They set traps using farming equipment and homemade explosives. And Marcus was leading them. Vela watched the drone footage as the human called. Marcus moved through the tunnels with a speed and confidence that defied logic. He carried a rifle that looked like it had been manufactured before space travel, yet he used it with devastating accuracy. He appeared behind Tarthan positions, eliminated 3 or 4 soldiers, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. "This is impossible," Krell whispered, watching the same footage. "Our soldiers are trained warriors. He's a farmer." "Check his records," Vela ordered. The information came back within minutes, pulled from intercepted human databases. Marcus Webb, age 43, resident of Brena's 4 for 12 years. Prior occupation listed simply as colonial security. "Expand the search," Vela said. Prior to colony work. The expanded records took longer to retrieve, and when they appeared, Vela understood her mistake. Marcus Webb had not always been a farmer. 20 years ago, he had been part of something the humans called the Frontier Guard, an elite unit that had fought in the border wars against the Kryn Swarm. He had been decorated 17 times. His final rank had been Major. "He's not a farmer playing soldier," Krell said quietly. "He's a soldier playing farmer." On the ground, the situation deteriorated rapidly. The Tarthan force, which had numbered 3,000, was now down to less than 2,000. The humans weren't just defending anymore. They were hunting. Small groups of Tarthan soldiers found themselves isolated, cut off from support, surrounded by enemies who knew every hiding place and every angle of fire. Vela ordered a retreat to the landing zone, intending to regroup and bring down heavier weapons from orbit. But the humans had anticipated this. As the Tarthan forces fell back, they found the route to the landing zone blocked. Not by fortifications or heavy weapons, but by simple obstacles. Collapsed tunnels. Flooded access ways. Sections of street that had been undermined and now collapsed under the weight of armored vehicles. The humans were hurting them. "Commander," the ground commander reported, his voice now openly fearful, "we're taking fire from every direction. They're using our own equipment against us. They captured one of our munitions stockpiles, and now the transmission cut off in a burst of static." Vela watched the tactical display as red icons representing her forces winked out one by one. This wasn't a battle. It was an extermination. "Deploy orbital strike," she ordered. "Coordinates on the primary settlement. If we cannot hold it, we'll deny it to them." Krell's voice was hollow. "Commander, our forces are still down there. I'm aware." Vela felt sick saying it, but the alternative was losing the entire force. Ready the strike. Before the order could be executed, a new transmission came through. Marcus appeared on screen, and Vela saw that he was standing in what looked like the Tarthan ground commander's position. Tarthan equipment surrounded him. Tarthan prisoners knelt with their hands secured. "Commander Vela," Marcus said, "I'm sending you live footage from 17 different positions throughout your landing zone. As you can see, we now control your fuel depot, your communications array, and your primary transport vehicles. Your forces are surrounded. You have approximately 400 soldiers left capable of fighting. Vela stared at the screens. It was true. Somehow, impossibly, the humans had seized control of the entire tactical situation. You have a choice, Marcus continued. You can order an orbital strike and kill your own soldiers along with us. Or you can withdraw your remaining forces and leave this system. You have 10 minutes to decide. Why? Vela found herself asking. Why fight so hard for this? It's just a farming colony. Marcus looked at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. It's our home. That's reason enough. The transmission ended. Krell spoke softly. Commander, the legends. I know, Vela said. She had dismissed the stories as myths. Tales of humans who fought beyond reason, beyond logic, beyond hope. She had assumed they were exaggerations. She had been wrong. The evacuation took 3 hours. The humans allowed the Tarthan forces to withdraw without further attack, though Marcus made it clear that any attempt to return would be met with immediate resistance. Vela's fleet departed Brennus 4, having accomplished nothing except learning a hard lesson. As they jumped to faster-than-light travel, Krall approached her command station. What will you report to the High Command? Vela considered lying, softening the defeat. But the truth would come out eventually. I'll report that we encountered a human defensive position and determined that the cost of subjugation exceeded the strategic value of the target. And the legends? Vela looked at the view screen, where Brennus 4 was already disappearing into the distance. The leg,